Oh boy, set a schedule for yourself and the first checkpoint you set is already missed. Just the way things go, unfortunately, especially not having my own garage. It leaves me at the will of nature, we'll say. We have had a lot of snow and rain lately, which has basically prevented me to get out and work on the Beetle here. But we're still making progress and moving forward. We do have quite a bit of time until I said that we're going to have this done, so hopefully we can make up time somewhere in the schedule. I've been ignoring the front end on this for a very long time, so today we're finally getting around to finish tearing it apart and getting everything disassembled, so that way we can hopefully get everything cleaned up and go forward with finishing the bodywork and ready for primer. The primer is already in the mail, we're just waiting for it to be delivered, and unfortunately it'll probably get here before the Beetle is ready for it to be sprayed on, so we just gotta keep moving forward with getting the work done. Unfortunately, on both sides, we had one of the factory installed flange nut that the fender bolts go into. They just snapped out or rusted out. And on this side here, on the passenger side, it kind of wedged itself behind the sheet metal and was basically wobbling the hole out while we were trying to spin the bolt out. So I was trying to get a tack on it to the sheet metal here in order to be able to finish screwing that bolt out. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and I just ended up having to kind of make the hole bigger to get the fender off. So another thing we'll have to fix. Once the fenders were off, I came back later in the day and used the needle scaler to take off some of this undercoating, which of course uncovered more rust. I kind of thought the front end was pretty clean, just based off the inside. I mean, you look underneath the gas tank and all that, and it looks like there's nothing. But taking this off, there's definitely going to be some stuff we have to repair, which I'm not looking forward to, but if we want this done right, we're going to have to do it. Since we're starting to think about spraying primer and paint on this thing, gotta start removing everything, so I started by taking the filler neck off here. Everything behind the dash here has been a nightmare for me. I was never really planning on ever taking any of this stuff apart, especially the wiring. I mean, you take one look at it and you're like, that's a rat's nest, literally. I mean, I pulled 2 or 3 more mouse bodies out of this thing when we cleaned this up today. But now that I know a little more about wiring and stuff, I'm not as nervous about it, and so since it'd be easier to paint the car with all that stuff removed, we're gonna go ahead and remove it. I tried to save as many wires as I could, and then of course cut some that I had to, but I cut them in a way where if we do decide to reuse those wires, it'll be easy to solder them back together and heat shrink them. But the plan is going to be, hopefully, to get all new wires for this thing. They're just not going to be the factory VW color codes anymore. So we'll probably have to make our own wiring diagram. So that way, if we're not working on the car in the future, people can kind of figure out what's going on. So that's the plan, but we'll see when we get there. That's going to be a couple months out. And hopefully it'll be an interesting video when we get there. As you can see, I started by taking out that wiper motor, and it really wasn't that hard, but not knowing what I was doing right off the bat, it took me a minute to kind of figure it out. I knew right away I was going to have to take the not lock nuts, but the jam nuts off of where the wiper arms sit, and then I couldn't really figure out how it was connected underneath. I knew there was the one, I think it's a 10mm or 13mm bolt, kind of holding it up to the top. I took that one out and it never dropped down. Well, those are the only 3 holding it, so I had to take a dead blow to the top where the wiper arms connect to, and it finally kind of dropped out. After I cut the wires, I hooked it up to a battery just to see if I could get power to it, and this thing's dead. I never did test it when we had the car operational, because there was basically no wiper blades on the thing. I mean, there was, but it was just a piece of metal kind of hanging off of it. I'm like, I didn't want to scratch the windshield any more than what it was. Probably should have tested it before I took it all apart, but you live and you learn. And now we know it doesn't work anyway, so we'll have to find a replacement for that. So I'm just kind of going through the separate harnesses. First one I removed was the headlight harness, and now I'm kind of going through that main harness that comes up from inside the cabin up. Just kind of pulling the ones out that I can from the connection on the fuse box, and then the ones that I can't, just cutting, but making sure that I leave enough slack in the wire that if we do reuse the wire, I can reconnect it in the future. Hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I'm already in the process of filming and editing the next one. Hopefully that'll be out in another week. If not, it might be 2 weeks. Thank you all for bearing with me in the slow process that it is to make these videos. I do enjoy making them, and I appreciate all of you that watch them. Thank you.